When we are looking at the picks and bans now, I think this time we do have the Fwoggy gang on the right in the red, and the gardening tools on the left in the blue. We are going to see a Zhang Kui ban, and I'm very perplexed by this one. I think that's a very interesting ban. I do appreciate it, but I don't know what that's specifically targeting. But you know, maybe they're just really confident in the position at this point that they're banning whatever they feel like. And again, there you go. There's the Arachne ban instantly out the gate. I think that's a very sensible play. And now Kwong will go again. He's been fairly consistently banned out in this league so far, along with Freya as well, of course. All of these auto-attacking mages, you know, have seen a huge resurgence recently, and I think, you know, I think it's nice to see them back in the meta again. But I think, you know, they're definitely a little bit overtuned at the moment. Yamoja and Bakasura will also come out very sort of predictable picks as well. I think those are very sensible. And there you go, Insta-Lock Ratatoska. This is the first time he's got through the ban phase and is instantly picked up. So it'll be interesting to see what gardening tools can do with this Ratatoska, especially considering how strong their jungler was on the Arachne. And we're looking at Thor Rama. I think, you know, perhaps Thor, he maybe can't keep up with Ratatoska, but he can definitely make an impact elsewhere. And you know, can definitely make some strong plays, especially with that team communication and coordination. You know, if you can time that dunk with a pluck or something, you can definitely make some good work out of it. And the Rama, I think, is an interesting pick as well, because not only are you taking that value for yourself, but also you're denying gardening tools, because they clearly looked quite confident on that Rama in the last game. Looking at perhaps a Mercury here, I think that would be definitely an interesting lock in there. I wonder where. Perhaps he'll be perhaps you're looking at could be Mercury solo. I'd hate to think about maybe Mercury support. It could be done. You build them a little bit tanky, and all you need to do is pluck them. And a Hoyi will come out as well. Seeing there we go, a Kukul Khan coming in from the side of Fwoggy Gang. I think you know, perhaps Cuckoo is a bit safer than Scylla, just because he doesn't have to stick around once he's thrown that whirlwind out. He can just leave it there and just forget about it. Although a bit less mobile. After all he has is that speed up. You can see Discordia and Aphrodite bans targeting that mid lane mage and the solo most likely. And we're going to see 2 Guardians banned out from gardening tools. Is that still on the table? I think you know, Kepri and Sobek are definitely interesting picks. We've seen a lot of good Sobek plays so far in the league. I think the Kuzenbo is definitely an interesting answer here. You know, as we saw before, Kuzenbo can definitely do some damage with that Nene. So you know, perhaps he is a good answer to these squishier targets that can also, you know, obviously reflect back damage on those basic attacks with his big old shell. So I think that's definitely a good pick. Raijin and AMC, Armuz and Carve locked in here. That's as one hell of a squishy team comp there, and it'd be interesting to see where these roles head to, as we have 2 hunters and 2 assassins, with only 1 character bringing magical damage. I wonder if maybe that'll make the Kuzenbo even stronger. You know, all of these auto attacks, he's just going to reflect them back at him. Perhaps they're, you know, trying to test something out that we don't know about, but I'm very interested to see where this where this draft goes. We did see a Xing go into the solo lane. So they've almost opted for complete opposites here. We have on one side the sort of going from these more squishy characters, deal quite a lot of damage, versus picking up this tankier comp. And this is the sort of slightly off meta stuff that I think is it's really interesting to see at this early stage in this mid-season update. People can make these interesting comps and test them out, have a bit of fun with it, and I think that's super interesting. And here you go. Let's see where this interesting team comp from Gardening Tools takes us, and what lanes people will head to. So I think that will be that might just be a solo AMC actually. A bit more of a traditional comp from Fwoggy Yang. And I think, maybe outside of the Xing solo, but I think he can definitely hold his own there. And perhaps if the Xing builds more tanky, perhaps that frees up the Kuzenbo to build more damage, or vice versa. It's a very strong teamfight ultimates there. If Xing can spin and bring everyone together, and then Kuzenbo just disrupts them all, can definitely see some strong combo potential there. Especially with things like that Rama ult and the Cuckoo ult. It could be see some explosive team fights. There you go. Will be a rat support. I think with the healing Akon, most likely. And I'm hoping we see why Rat's been 100% banned up to this point. I'm sure he'll be very strong, even in that dual lane supports position. Definitely make some plays. Gonna see Xing starting the wave rather than his blue. He's just gonna try and clear it out before his Thor gets there. Whereas AMC is gonna start straight at the blue buff. Oh, and it's possible with the rat building Assassin's Blessing, perhaps we might see a double jungle, and then rat will just appear to support every now and then. Here we go, just getting some of that early poke off. It's very difficult to deal with as he just sticks to you, even with a Kuzenbo. He's just gonna have to walk out of there. With an early invade onto that damage buff. I think they've noticed that it did take Thor a little bit longer to get through his blue, and the harpies obviously, so they are going to take that. And we're likely going to see a gank in the duo lane. Mercury's going behind and will pick up the Kuzenbo. He will follow up, but does miss the stun. He's going to try and deal with the Kuzenbo. Mercury's very low. Ram's going to try and take that one down as well. Maybe he'll try and save himself, but instead he's going to go in on the rat. Maybe as a bad move there, as Hoyi will pick it up. Thor's coming over, maybe a bit too late to have a huge impact here. Just try and defend the tower. I think pretty even trades there. I think it's support for a jungler. I think it's probably worth it. More on the side of Fwoggy Yang. Obviously 2-1 on the scoreline. We're just seeing that Mercury is so much quicker with those rotations that I think it's definitely trickier to deal with than the Thor, who's perhaps a little bit slow to get online at the moment. Once he gets that ultimate, that's when the big shift happens, I think. little bit of a level lead on the side of AMC, although I think Xing Chan has definitely got pretty solid sustain. His HP 5, I think he'll be able to box the AMC just a little bit. And if you can get some, cheeky CC under tower or something like that, might be able to pick up some picks here and there. We see again, yeah, the rat is just leaving his ADC, leaving it to it, trying to make as much impact as he can all across the map, especially when he hits that level 5 with the ultimate. He'll be hopping through the tree, through the cosmos, and I think he'll definitely make some big bursty plays. We'll see a solo kill down in solo lane, and here we go, the rat just making a bit of an impact here, dealing some damage. Won't get too much off of it except for this red buff. I think, yeah, it's unfortunate for the Xing Chan. I think maybe just got caught out. They are going to blink in, try and pull out that Kuzumbo. Rat's under tower, and he might just go down there. And there he goes. I think QQ leaving the wave, backing up to help, definitely supported the Kuzumbo there. Oh, and a big sumo push into the wall. And he will just dash out of there. Nene is going to do some damage though in these early levels. We do see Thor coming in and will hit him with the wall. Has a perfectly placed wall as well just behind him as he tried to beat through it with the Raijin ult. See this level lead from the AMC is definitely a tricky one for the Xing Chan to deal with. I think that'll only get stronger as time goes on in the match. So I think the key here for the Xing Chan is to, not get caught out as too much in the actual laning phase, and just try and make this huge difference in those team fights with that huge spin to win ultimate. And yeah, as well with the Odysseus bow from AMC, he's going to have a big clear advantage on the Xing Chan. And I think in general with the bees as well, he's always got a solid clear, even though he's immobile. He hasn't quite been challenged by Thor, although we might see that change here as he does jump into the air. Looks to dunk on him, although Xing Chan's very low. Try and take him down. He does miss the stinger though. Thor can probably clean this one up if he gets Mjolnir. Oh, we'll see a Mercury counter ult instead and running into the solo, and now everything's changed. Now the Fwoggy gang are on the back foot with 2 kills down. That was a very impressive play from the AMC, keeping himself alive, beating the team back near their tower, and Mercury flying in out of nowhere. I think it's still relatively, even a little bit of an advantage going to the gardening tools. But I think we could see that dynamic change as the game goes on. I think once the teams start grouping for team fights and objectives, I think that might just change up the dynamic a bit. Obviously, with the Fwoggy gang going for those tanks with the CC, as opposed to gardening tools with all that damage. See, this level lead from the AMC is going to continue as Xing Chan just tries to box it as much as they can. See a big stun there as they were hiding behind the wall. Kuzumbo will get caught out and use the watery grade to try and push them away. Raijin's coming in and will take down the Cuckoo. Not before Cuckoo dishes out a lot of damage there with the ultimate. Thor's going to try and steal that Cuckoo, but Mercury will miss the ult there. Very unfortunate that he was doing the spin under tower and will get pushed back into it by the Sumo Slam. OU with a counter ult here though, picking up 2 kills. Picking up a kill onto the Thor, sorry. It's a lot of very messy fight there as trades back and forth. I don't think you know, perhaps the gardening tools pulled ahead ever so slightly, but they did lose a few key members, like the Mercury and I think the Rat as well. See how much damage the Shinchan's taking there. It's very tricky to deal with. Oh, he's quite out of position. Will use the dash, but still gets sumo pushed with the blink there. He's currently crippled, so maybe he's going to turn and just try and fight it. Rat's hopping in to try and save him. Definitely doing a lot of damage to the Rama there. And look how low he is. He will go down to the Kuzenbo. As we do see a kill there in the solo lane, as I think Mercury is making some big plays there as well. He's getting very low, but Thor's going to try and save himself. And will get out there. Rat again is just running away. See that using these assassins to just get this high burst out of nowhere in this pretty early stage in the game. Just trying to pick up these picks where they can. You see they have extended their gold and XP lead ever so slightly, which, you know, if left uncontrolled could be a big problem for the Fwoggy gang. So we're going to see if they change to a more defensive style, or maybe they try and fight into it a bit more to try and even it out. We're going to see Mercury just run down mid here with the support of both the Raijin and the Rat as backup just in case. I think he's started to get those, you know, he's got that Golden Blade online. He's very scary at this point. Still early stages. Ram can take to the skies to try and save himself, but they're waiting for him as soon as he comes back down. He will still go down there. Mercury is very low, but will get out with his life. Kuzengo is going to do what he can. There's so much pressure here that it's very difficult to deal with. Going to try and turn and deal with the Rat instead. Although if he has ult up, yeah, there we go. He's just going to hop onto the branch and get out of there. Maybe because his team's nearby, maybe he might even go back in. It's very tricky for Kuzenbo to defend, but I think the gardening tools aren't really trying to hard push it. They're just trying to make the team come over and fight them. Do see Thor take down the Rat, but might die to the Raijin here. He's going to hop into the air and perhaps re-engage, or he might just escape. There he goes. We will see the Shinchan go down with the help of Mercury in the solo lane and the tier 1 tower as well, definitely opening up the map quite a bit. He's going to come into mid. So we do see a pause come out, but I think it will be ending soon. There we go. QQ taken out by the Hoyi. Very tricky for Fwoggy gang now, as you know, it's a handful of members from gardening tools looking very strong and very scary. Mercury goes in again, even on like less than half health. He's gonna keep up that aggression, keep up that pressure. You know, look at that level lead as well. I think he can get away with it. AMC in the solo, keeping that split push going. He has siege down the tier 2. It's very tricky for Shinchan to deal with that. I think he's gonna perhaps try and rotate into other lanes, which, you know, in itself is tricky because you're leaving the AMC to farm up. But perhaps he can make a bigger impact in those team fights. Rat's on his own. He's a bit of a lead, but not that much. He's a support one, so he will be fairly tanky with that sledge. Just gonna cause as much disruption as he can and just be awkward. Big engage coming in here most likely. Rat's in the sky and will dunk back down. Hoyi will also ult to take it. So 2 ults for 1 kill is maybe a bit expensive, but it's definitely something. Cuckoo ult's coming out, and that hits the Hwoggy, but look how little damage that did as he's 4 levels ahead. The Rat's very low and just back out of there, although Thor will take to the sky and perhaps dunk in on it. It might be a risky move here though. His only other teammate being the Kuzenbo. Thor's a bit low on mana though. He can definitely make some plays here with the Kuzenbo. You see with the Mercury, sort of scaring him off and using his ult here, he might just be able to secure it. And there he goes. With the Mercury becoming unstoppable now, it's very difficult to deal with, especially as he'll likely start to bring online those crit items. He's already got Rage. He might see a Deathbringer as well. Gold Fury goes to Gardening Tools. See this level lead here from AMC just lets him just fight into him, although Cuckoo and Thor will come over to try and help, and he should die to that as he's caught out by the wall. I think this is definitely a difficult one for Fwoggy Gang. I think it's tricky for them to shut down that Mercury and the Hwoggy. And even once they've dealt with those, I think AMC can definitely scale into the late game as well. Raijin and even the Rat to some extent will still deal damage throughout. You'll see a big grouping on this mid lane. And I think that's probably the way to go for the Fwoggy Gang, grouping up a bit more, trying to get those team fights going rather than these individual duels, because they're definitely struggling with them. Rat will take to the sky and just hop out of there most likely. You can see a bit of a grouping around this Fire Giant pit. 4 teams from the Gardening Tools coming over. Xingqian's not looking so good. Meanwhile, in the duo lane, you can see a solo kill there from the Hwoggy. And there we go, Xingqian does go down. So I think with these 2 picks now, they will start to try and... 3 picks even. Cuckoo gets instantly bursted by the Mercury. I think we'll see a big tower push here. I think we'll likely see mids and possibly the duo as well. Kuzenbo's definitely taking a lot of damage there. He's going to ult to try and save himself. Look how low these characters are, but there's no one alive to fight them off really. See, Hwoggy's got that tier 2 and is looking for Phoenix here. Look at that 7 level difference. It's going to be very tricky for Rama to come back here. Maybe with the support he could do it, but Hwoggy's going to be very scary at this point. Look at that huge difference there in XP and gold. I think maybe even grouping might be a tricky one for the Fwoggy Gang on this back foot here. Oh, and there you go. The Kuzenbo does land the sumo push, and we see this big grouping onto this Hwoggy, just trying to deal with him. Mercury's there though, we've got to be careful of him too. And even with 4 members, it's so tricky for them to deal with them. We will take down the Mercury, but at the cost of their Kuzenbo, and maybe a bit more as Hwoggy does dive in and takes the ult as well. You might even look to take the Cuckoo down. That huge level difference, and Cuckoo's pretty immobile. And there you go, with the stun under Titan, he's not even scared of it. He's just going to sit under Titan and hit him even though he can't deal any damage yet, just to prove that they're so far ahead that he can afford to do that. Now they are going to catch him out of position and maybe, take him down for that BM, but not before he takes the Thor with him. And I can't help but think perhaps a move like that from Hwoggy might even get in the heads of the Fwoggy Gang and make them a little bit worried about how this game is going. I think it's a very difficult position. Rat's taking out the fight by his ultimate just to sort of save himself. You see that grouping there. Once they had 4 people on one guy, they could take him down, but that's a lot of resources to focus down one person. Whereas Mercury can just zip in, burst someone down, and he's got that movement speed. He can live to tell the tale. He does have the crit online now, so he's going to be doing so much damage with the basic attacks and with the sort of dash ability when he throws out the circle. Clean up a few members here, but they are getting quite low themselves. Ram's going to take this guy to try and deal with him. And Thor's going to dunk him as well. They're really desperate to take this Mercury down and get the shutdown gold. AMC's still here though, and he's still got a big advantage. And this is the thing, by having all these damage dealers, you don't know who to focus because they're all priority targets. We'll take that tower down. Kyushu trying to just keep that defense up on the Phoenixes. The only member remaining of the Fwoggy gang. We will see a Fury go the way of Gardening Tools. Now, honestly, I don't know what Fwoggy gang have to do to get back into this one, but if they can pull off a few tight defenses like we saw last match, maybe just maybe they can keep this up until they also hit that 20. It's a huge goal difference there. It's 33 to 15 on the stat line. We might just be looking at a 2-0 here from Gardening Tools. The Fwoggy gang have shown that they do have a strong defense if they really put on the back foot, but it wasn't quite enough last time. But I wonder if we'll see that change in this match. You see that here, 2 members just backing into base, just trying to keep that Phoenix up because they definitely see something's coming. See the Kuzumbo is already down. I think Xing-Chan might be looking for an ult here if it isn't already down. Definitely out of position, he's just going to try and save himself. So the rest of the team looks to defend from the Mercury and the Rat, but it's such a deadly combo at this point, especially with the AMC constantly pumping out damage. And what can you do? So they just run under Phoenix. Deicide for Gardening Tools. Those death timers might just mean that we might see a Titan push here. Although perhaps that's a little bit risky if we get some respawns, but they're so offset that they might just be able to do it. But they've also noticed, you see that left lane, they've got that Oni Fury wave. Definitely assist them with the sieging here of the Titan. At this point, some of them are a bit low, so maybe they don't want to risk it too much. As we see, the Fwoggy gang death timers are starting to come back. And they are all up now, so maybe if they group and catch them off guard while they're all low, Thor does take to the air to try and deal with that. Does miss the dunk a little bit, unfortunately. Kuzumbo does get a pluck, but you see they just turn around and fight into them with that lifesteal. See, all Phoenix is down now, so even if they did win this team fight, they do have to be careful of those Winions. Because they can come in and they can just finish the game if you forget about them. There you go, 3 members and he is on a triple kill. He might even look for the Penta here. Hou-Yi can definitely put out the damage. He's going to try and follow up on this Xing-Chan. And there he goes with the Penta. Hou-Yi with the first Penta of this league. We saw a Quadra yesterday from Kali, but he didn't quite manage to pull it off. But there you go, Maestro on the Hou-Yi with the Penta. And he's just going to look to end the game there. The other team can't do anything to stop him. There you go, game 2 goes to Gardening Tools with a big 2-0. Very strong display there. A very formidable team.